So welcome everyone to week 2 of Mindfulness 2022. Creating a mindful new year. That's the subtitle of our class. So today we turn our attention to the body, mindfulness of the body, and that the practice is going to be a body scan. You'll see how that works. Maybe you've tried that before, but if not, it's really easy. It's kind of an interesting practice. And we're also going to talk about mindful movement. So those are the two basic practices, but I'm going to give you a lot of possibilities that you can try. But before we kind of get into all that, let's take a moment and do a mindful minute pause, as we often do to start a class off, okay? So just sitting comfortably or standing or however you are in participating here, just pausing for a moment. You can close your eyes if you like. You don't have to though. These pauses are meant to be done anywhere, you know, even in movement or as you going about your business. But if you want to close your eyes now and just pause and just simply notice how your body feels. Just tune in and do kind of a quick overall scan of the body. Feeling your body sitting here, maybe noticing your posture. Perhaps you notice there's a little bit of discomfort, or maybe there's a little bit of sensation in a particular area of the body. What do you notice? Just kind of really just do a quick scan and see what you observe. And then next, we just bring our focus to our breathing, just noticing the breath for a few cycles in and out of the body. Noticing where you feel the breath in the body. Could be at the belly or the chest or the nose. And that's it. That's a quick mindful pause for today. So hopefully that helps a little bit to bring us to right here and now and kind of leave behind all the stuff you've been working on already today and all the stuff that you will be working on. All of this, remember, is a way to bring us into the present moment. So I want to open it up and ask you, how did it go your first week? And I'll ask if there is anybody, maybe you can raise your hand, perhaps, if anybody wants to just talk a little bit about what your experience was like in doing the formal sitting breath meditation, or even the informal practices. Remember, that was the other part of the homework, was to pay attention to routine activities and just kind of really notice and just do that one thing. When your mind wanders, bring it back to that one thing. So you can also use the chat. So if anybody wants to just put in the chat, maybe a sentence or a few words about what the first week was like for you. And remember, as I said in the beginning, this is not about getting a good grade. This is not about doing it just right. This is not about being a class A or an Olympic meditator or breather or anything like that. This is more about how's it going now. And the other thing to remind you is that I asked you to use that log sheet. So that's another way to kind of just keep track of what your experience is, what was like on a day-to-day basis. So we got a few things coming in on the chat here. Okay, you can all see these. Helpful to stay in the moment and focus on one task. Exactly. I mean, so often we are multitasking, right? So this is single tasking. Was able to practice on a regular basis. The weekend, not so much, right? So that's another good observation. The weekends are going to be different. Your routines are probably different. So how are you going to adjust and fit this in on the weekend or on a day off or when you do something different that day that throws your routine off? You need to be thinking about how you're going to do that. We did the home practice record with your buddy. Excellent. And it was very helpful doing morning meditations. So yeah, so maybe you find that the morning is the best time. I used to do it midday, and now I'm finding morning is best for me before I get into the busyness of the day. So what works best for you? Yeah, that's a good observation. I found that my mind wanders more than I expected. And that's part of it. We bring more awareness to what our mind is doing, and we realize, yeah, our minds are all over the place. And so this is really a great way to realize that that we are a little bit more mind wandering than and don't feel bad about that. That's the other part of it. You might notice, did you have a reaction to that? Oh, my mind is wandering. That's not good. Well, that's part of the mindfulness practice too. Just noticing to yourself, oh, that's not good. Or geez, I'm wondering, is that a problem? So being aware of that, trying to bring that non-judgmental attitude to the practice. Okay, help not be so scattered. Excellent. I think this is a great antidote to attention deficit disorder that we all have, you know. So, you know, it's part of it. And you're all learning to do this and to try to integrate it. That's the whole point of the 6 weeks, to integrate it into your regular daily routine so that it becomes second nature. Did the sitting meditations each day. Excellent. Went pretty well. Felt relaxing to pause, concentrate only on one task. Good. Excellent. It's kind of interesting to notice that, right? Not as engaged as I hoped. My goal is to refocus this week. So good. So it may be harder to do it every day. You may realize that there are more barriers or there are more things that pull our attention. And that really takes a lot of, that intention that I talked about. It really takes a lot to do this. So I'm not going to go through all of these. I see another like 19 new messages here. But maybe you can all kind of scan through there. And I think what you'll see is that there are some common themes for all of you. There are some things that maybe you realize, oh yeah, I experienced exactly the same thing. Or maybe that was something that helps me in this coming week. Okay? So here's one. Had difficulty, mind was all over the place. Good. I mean, I sort of say that tongue in cheek, that good you notice that, and we realize that, yeah, our minds are all over the place. And especially when we're doing so many things at once, we're multitasking, we're trying to get all the stuff done that's on our to-do lists, and it's really hard. So this is a different way of training the mind, and that's really what it's all about, is training the mind. All right, very good. Here somebody said something about an informal practice. To use the tip of being in the moment while I was washing my hands and my hair. Good. So, that's really another thing to keep trying. We do have some other informal practices, but it is really the balance of the informal practice and the formal practice that will help to sustain what you're doing. So the formal practice of sitting and meditating is, really the cornerstone of our overall practice. But the informal practice helps us realize that, yeah, I can bring mindful attention to all sorts of different things. And the cool thing about that is that as you do that more and more and more, then you have more mindful moments scattered throughout your day, and it becomes second nature, as I said. So very good. These are great comments. Thank you all for sharing those. And again, I hope you take some time to share these with your buddy, whatever works best for you, whether it's a once a week touch base, or maybe it's more often than that. Could be email or phone or text, whatever works best for you. But just to have somebody to kind of share this with and to keep you accountable. And remember, those log forms really can be a helpful way to keep track of what it was like for you on any given day. All right, so I'm going to move on. These are great comments. I appreciate all of them. Thank you. So part of our mini lesson is bringing the mind and the body together, sort of connecting the dots between thoughts, feelings, and body sensations, and accepting and seeing fresh what we learn as we scan the body. And that'll be the practice that we do. Let me see what my next slide is here. I changed these a little bit. So yeah, so let me talk about this. I'm trying to build in these healthy habit tips during each class. And I came across this one recently that my colleague Vivian sent me some information on a new meditation, which I'll share with you probably in a week or so. But the intro to this is this quote. You know, we think about things we want to do. In other words, those goals that we have. We think about things we want to accomplish, all the things we want to get done. And that's, remember, this is what we're doing is more like a being, not a doing. But we create lists of tasks. It feels good to cross them off one by one. There's a lot of value and power in that. But I think there is a part of goal setting that often gets overlooked, and that's the why behind our goals. So just for a moment, I want you to think about that. At the core of everything we want for ourselves, at the heart of every goal that we set, whether it's for our relationships or our physical health or our careers, is a feeling. All right. So I'm not sure of the author. I'll have to get that. But what the author says is that in the last few years, he or she has been doing an exercise where they write down their feeling goals for the year and then make a list of the things that they want to feel. And notice the difference. I then take the list and write down goals that will help me move towards those feelings. For example, I want to feel energized and alive. That's the feeling goal. So I set a goal to move my body more. Here's another one. I want to feel seen and connected. So I set a goal to pour more of my energies into my friendships. Here's another one. I want to feel curious and inspired. So I set a goal to travel to a new place. So you see the difference? And what he goes on to point out, each goal is associated with a positive emotional reward. And what's beautiful about this approach is that we don't have to wait until the outer vision or goal becomes real. We don't have to wait to cross things off our to-do list to feel how we want to feel. We can experience that right away as we put that into place. And he says, using the power of our imagination, we can travel there instantly, and it gives ourselves the gift of experiencing our goals and desires in real time, even if they haven't happened yet. So that's the tip for this week in trying to really reinforce getting in touch with, and you might want to jot down. Now, I had you do that with meditation. I had you think about what's important to you. What was your intention for joining this class? And so maybe that you want to think about it that way. Think about, well, maybe I want to feel more calm and centered in the face of stress. That's the feeling. And so the goal is to do a regular meditation practice focusing on being calm so that we kind of train our body and our mind to do that. So you can turn that into a meditation goal and a goal for your class if you like. All right, so we were really talking about meditation in mindfulness of the body. And I think I showed you this cartoon the last time. But the idea here is that the chap here in the cartoon is all in his head, right? All of the worries, all these things are floating around his head. as opposed to the dog. The dog is in the body. The dog is smelling things, noticing things, just really feeling him or herself in the scene. And so this is a quote from Jack Kornfield. There's a simple reason why mindfulness of the body translates directly into mindfulness in your life. And that is that the body is always living in the present moment, right here and right now. When you're lost in thought, you're in a form of virtual reality, and you lose touch with what's actually happening in the present. This habit of remembering some recent interaction at work or evaluating plans, or not having that truly gratifying sense of being relaxed and settled in your life, as it leaves an undercurrent of unease and dissatisfaction. So basically, we can use the body as an anchor to the present moment, a very solid anchor when you think about it. Feeling our feet on the ground, for example, like we did in that initial pause, feeling our body, bringing our awareness out of the mind, out of the head, into the body. So like the breath, by sustaining attention on our body sensations, we can settle a scattered mind. And it can help us bring clarity and focus and ease and well-being. So that's really the focus that we're going to take in the meditation today. And but before I go into that, a couple more quick definitions of mindfulness. And again, I have a lot in this lesson. So if you have a question, please feel free to let me know. Probably the best would be on the chat. I'll try to monitor that as we go through, okay? So another definition, mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations and surrounding environment. So notice bodily sensations is an important part of the equation. Now here's the second one is important too. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment rather than rehashing the past or imagining the future. So part of what will help us do that is this idea of beginner's mind and acceptance. And these are two of the key attitudes that is actually part of the homework. You'll see that later on in the slides. There's actually 9 attitudes that will kind of help us in our mindfulness practice. And Jon Kabat-Zinn in the video, the YouTube video, goes through all 9 of them. Each one is about maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So if you can watch the whole thing, that's great. Or maybe you just want to pick a couple of them, you can do that too. But the 2 I want to focus on right now are beginner's mind and acceptance. So what beginner's mind is simply being aware of something as if for the first time. You know, kind of imagining that you're an alien. And so they do this classic exercise with a raisin, and it's you eat a raisin very mindfully. So you kind of imagine that you're an alien. You've never seen a raisin before. And you look at it and you look at the light reflecting off of it and the weight of it, it's pretty small, and you know, really kind of what it feels like in your hand. And then finally, when you bring it up to your mouth and what's happening in your mouth, when you put it in your mouth, each sensual experience with that eating of the one raisin, you're bringing this beginner's mind to the experience. And that's what I'd like you to think about doing when we do the body scan. And we'll also talk about mindful movement. And when we talk about moving our bodies, you know, we're pretty much take them for granted. But we'll do some stretches and we'll talk about mindful walking and those kinds of things. You know, we walk every day, lots of different places. And again, we take it for granted, and usually our mind is somewhere else. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring beginner's mind to that. Now, the other thing is acceptance. And when we go through our body, for example, and we realize that maybe there are some things that, well, we don't like about our body, either the way it looks or the way it feels or the way it moves or whatever it is, that we, instead of, wishing that it were different or trying to change it immediately, that we just accept it, at least for now. We just let it be as it is. And I have another great quote for you. This is from Tara Brach and Jack Kornfield. They have a program that's a 40-day mindfulness program. And it's from their lesson called Body, Feeling from the Inside Out. So just as I read this, listen to this and just sit back and sense it directly as it might be addressed to you, okay? I am the pain in your head, the knot in your stomach, the unspoken grief in your smile. I am your high blood pressure, your fear of challenge, your lack of trust. I am your hot flashes, your fragile low back, your agitation and fatigue. You tend to disown me, suppress me, ignore me, coddle me, condemn me. You usually want me to go away immediately, to disappear, to slink back into obscurity. Most times than not, wait, I read that wrong. Most times, more times than not, I'm only the recent notes of a long symphony, the most evident branches of roots that have been challenged for seasons. So I implore you, I am a messenger with good news, as disturbing as I can be at times. I'm wanting to guide you back to those tender places within yourself, the place where you can hold yourself with compassion and honesty. I may ask you to alter your diet, to get more sleep, exercise regularly, breathe more consciously. I might encourage you to see a vast reality and worry less about day-to-day fluctuations of life. I may ask you to explore the bonds and wounds of your relationship. I am your friend, not your enemy. I have no desire to bring pain and suffering into your life. I'm simply tugging at your sleeve, too long immune to gentle nudges. You are a being so vast, so complex, with amazing capacities for self-regulation and healing. Let me be one of the harbingers that leads you to the mysterious core of your being, where insight and wisdom are naturally available when called upon with a sincere heart. End quote. So just kind of taking a moment to reflect on that. That's your body speaking to you. And this is where the lesson of the body scan is to look at it with beginner's mind, but also with acceptance. And so we'll start the body scan. Now, just a couple of words about the body scan. Body scans can be done laying down. They can be standing. They can be sitting. I'm assuming most of you will probably be sitting today, and that's perfectly fine. But if you wanted to lay down, you could do that. You could do a body scan first thing in the morning before you get up out of bed. You could do it just before going to sleep. It's a great way to relax and get out of the mind into the body. It can be done fairly quickly. It'll probably only be about 7 or 8 or 9 minutes. It could be a lot longer. Sometimes body scans can last 30 to 40 minutes. So it's pretty flexible. You can really do it however you like. But today's body scan is a little bit different. It's not, most body scans go through each part of the body systematically, and you just simply bring your awareness to that part of the body. This body scan is going to be a little bit more general, but you'll see we're still going to really check in with all parts of the body. So let's begin, okay? So find a comfortable position, seated or otherwise, whatever is best for you, wherever you are. And close your eyes. And take some moments to adjust your posture so that you have a sense of sitting upright and at ease. And you might take a few full breaths, releasing with the out-breath any tension that you're feeling. Now, allow the breath to be natural, relaxing with the inflow, relaxing with the outflow. And invite yourself to be right here at home in this breathing body. And take a moment to imagine your body as a house and sense with curiosity where your primary living. Is it up in the attic, in the mind? Or is there some strong discomfort drawing your attention to a particular room? Maybe your lower back or belly. Imagine you could descend from top down, bringing your attention gently to any areas the tension has accumulated in. You might feel it through the head and the face, softening the muscles around the eyes and the root of the tongue. Noticing if you can feel your face, feel your mouth, feel your jaw, and other areas of your face. And now feel down into your neck and throat, noticing any sensations that are there. Allow the shoulders to fall away from the neck, to loosen and relax. Can you feel the sensations inside your shoulders? Allow yourself to soften the hands and see if you can feel sensations inside your hands, or perhaps around the fingertips, or the palms, or the thumbs. With gentleness and interest and curiosity, that beginner's mind, continue to notice what parts of the body house are easy to access and what are more difficult. Now feeling into the chest area. Can you experience sensations inside the chest and the heart? What do you notice in the back of the body? The upper back or the lower back? What sensations are present in your back? Now softening the abdominal area, seeing if you can feel inside the belly and experience what's there. Continuing to scan down the torso, breathe, and see if you can feel the life through the pelvic region. How accessible are sensations in this part of the body house? Allow the attention to move down through the legs, the volume and the length of the legs. Maybe being aware of different parts like around the knees or the calves or the thighs. And coming down all the way to your feet, being aware of the soles of your feet, the contact they make with the ground. Maybe even being aware of the toes, tops of the feet, the heels. As you surveyed your body in this way, did you notice any areas that feel particularly alive, easy to feel? Any areas that are difficult to contact? You can trust that with practice, your experience of the body will become increasingly direct, refined, and vibrant. Now, widen the attention to feel the whole body. How's your body feeling right now? Is there a sense of aliveness, sluggishness, buzzing, achiness, pleasantness, flow? Without judgment, continue surveying the field, the bodily experience with mindfulness, simply breathing and noticing the quality of changing sensations and letting them be just as they are. And for the final moments of this sitting, bring your attention back to your anchor of the breath. Or if you'd like to choose an alternative home base, sense where sensations in your body are easiest to feel or are either pleasant or neutral. As we've explored, typically this might be your hands or your feet, or you might have an anchor combining your breath with other sensations in the body. Rest in the sensations of your home base, while including the background field of sensation with a calm, easy presence. When you're ready, we'll begin to slowly finish the meditation. So just take a moment to notice what this has been like, to be aware of your body, to be aware of your breath. As we do this body scan and we brought attention to parts of the body, just notice what it felt like and what it feels like now. What's the quality of your awareness right now? And if you'd like, you might want to bring an intention to bring this sense, this quality of awareness to the next activities of your day. And when you're ready, you can slowly and gradually open your eyes. And you may want to stretch a little bit or move or wiggle your fingers or your toes, whatever feels right for your body. So part of the practice is just exploring periodically and pausing, maybe taking a few breaths throughout the day, and quickly cataloging your body from head to toe. And sort of replant yourself by noticing sensations in your face or your arms or your hands or your chest or your belly or your legs or your feet. And just feel your full body here and alive in the moment. Just a quick pause. That's all it takes to kind of get back in touch with this, with that anchor of the body. Okay. So that's the body scan. Now, when I show you the link later, the link to our meditation page where you can listen to it again, it's a little bit different. So don't be surprised but it's similar, but slightly different. And let me know, what was that like for you? If you want to put in the chat feature a little bit of what that experience was like. And you might want to remember to share that with your buddy. Okay, so if there was a particular part of the body scan, because this is going to be the primary formal meditation. So yeah, so we've got a couple coming in here. So feel free to put down in the chat what that was like for you. And as you do that, I'll move forward to this cute little cat yoga. Now, another part of mindfulness of the body is to be aware of our bodies as they move. So the last one, we sat still, and it might have made you a little bit sleepy or sluggish or restless. Those are all common kinds of things. Mindful movement is another way of becoming aware of what's happening in the body as we do different kinds of movements. So got some nice comments here. Thank you for sharing those. Gave my mind a rest. Very relaxed. Slow down my thoughts. Okay, good. Took a bit to settle, but felt my heart rate slow. Good. That's another thing you might even want to do is be aware of what's going on with your heart rate. Very good. I had trouble regulating my breath. So, I mean, that's a good point. Sometimes we do have trouble regulating our breath. And remember, we're not, first of all, don't strive to regulate it. Just let it be as it is. And just see what happens. So that's first of all with that. The second part of that is sometimes the breath isn't the best anchor. In the first week, last week, the breath was our anchor. This week, the body is our anchor. So you might want to notice that maybe there's, instead of having the breath as an anchor, maybe there's your feet or your posture or your, whatever it is, whatever you notice, your hands. That could be an anchor. So that's something else that you can do. So as we move to some mindful movement, and I would like you to just do this along with me. Just take some stretches. And first of all, just do some cat stretches. So whatever is best for you. What would you like to do? You can just follow along. Just kind of might be arching your back. It might be reaching up. Maybe there's some tension. Notice where you feel any tension in the body and just sort of like stretch it out a little bit. And as you do this, do it slowly, a little bit more slowly than you would normally stretch. And pay attention. Notice the feelings. Notice the sensations. Notice maybe if you are carrying tension in your shoulders, maybe doing some shoulder rolls. Slow, gentle, easy. Maybe bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, holding it, and relaxing. Maybe stretching out the hands. Maybe the fingers, the hands, or the arms, or the shoulders all feel kind of tight or tense. Maybe stretching that out and holding it for a few seconds. And again, being curious, noticing as if for the first time, using that beginner's mind as we do some simple stretches. If you want to stand up, you can do that. You can stand up and you can stretch out other parts of the body. You can bend over, you can reach up. One arm at a time, you can reach up. You can do all sorts of things. Maybe you come up with a specific set of stretches that are helpful to you. I do this in the morning. I have stretches, and this is part of my mindful exercise. I stretch out my lower back. I do some floor exercises, and then I do a simple 2 or 3 minute Tai Chi type routine. And it really just, kind of gets me ready. It gets the blood pumping a little bit. It makes me feel a little bit looser. a little bit more relaxed, and a little bit more grounded. So whatever it is, you can come up, and I'm going to give you some more suggestions. So feel free to keep stretching as I move along here. Here are some creative ways to get moving. So these are just something that I found recently, maybe going up and down some stairs for a few minutes, walking or running, of course, being very careful. But as you do this, this is another way to bring mindful awareness. Now, these are all more informal ways to practice, but noticing the movement as you're going up and down the stairs, noticing your heart rate, noticing the contact of your feet on the stair, or skipping to music, jumping rope, or jogging in place during 3 of your favorite songs. And again, bringing that beginner's mind, that fresh way to look at how your body is feeling as you do these. Power clean, speed clean your house for 10 minutes. That what we talked about last week, bringing awareness to doing the laundry or doing the dishes, whatever it is. Remember, just do that one thing while you're doing them. The mind will wander, it will travel elsewhere. That's fine. Just bring it back when you notice that. That's the basic practice. Maybe there's during TV, doing some stretches or jumping jacks or running in place during some of the commercials. So there's just some other suggestions on different ways to move. Then there's mindful walking. Okay, so mindful walking is, there's actually a link to this towards the end if you wanted to be aware. I'm trying to get rid of this on my screen here. I don't know if it's in your way. Mindful walking is simply paying attention to the movement, to the lifting and placing of each foot. You can do mindful walking indoors. It's kind of cold these days, but some of us like to get out into the fresh air. I think it's really terrific to do it outside, and you can feel so much. You can be aware of so many different things. It actually can be quite distracting, right? A true traditional mindful walking is done inside. You might just pick an area of 10 paces or so, and you walk back and forth slowly, usually at about maybe half to 3/4 of your usual speed. And really, as I said, pay attention to the lifting and placing of each foot. Notice the other sensations of your walking, the bend of your knee, what's happening with the rest of your body. And of course, you'll notice your mind will travel. So bring it back to the sensations of walking. So that's a traditional inside walking meditation. You can do that outside. You can walk a little more slowly, but just pay attention to the sensations of walking. It's a great way to bring mindful awareness in a movement sort of way. Now, this one is a little bit more a vigorous kind of exercise. And again, there will be a link to this, but this is I think it's only a few minutes long, and it's mindful movement to stretch out the spine and to kind of feel nourishment in the spine. So this is another thing that you can do. You might have heard of Thich Nhat Hanh. He's a well-known Vietnamese Buddhist meditation teacher. Got a lot of great books out. And this, there will be a link to this also. This is 10 mindful movements, which are done very slowly, very deliberately, and very mindfully. And he walks you through it, and you do it. So I think it's all standing and very slow and very relaxing kind of movements. And there's also a couple linked to some gentle yoga. So some of you, I know, some of you do yoga already, and as you know, there's often a part at the end that has some mindful breathing, so you can integrate that, or you can simply use the yoga exercises. You'll see in a minute there's a couple of links to YouTube videos if you want to try some gentle mindful yoga. Very easy to do. So that's really the practice. The practice this week the formal practice this week is the body scan, okay? Doing the body scan and mindful movement. So you could alternate do one thing one day, one thing the other day. You could do both if you like to do that. But the idea is to really integrate this into your formal practice, into your regular daily routine. Now you can see here there's actually an article that I'll send you on the body scan. Whoops. Written by Jon Kabat-Zinn, and he kind of talks that it's sort of like tuning a musical instrument or throwing open the windows of a house to let fresh air in. This is a way, again, to get out of the head into the body and to kind of like just bring our full awareness and appreciation of what's going on down below the neck. And then the informal awareness. Now this is different. This is a little bit different this week. The informal practice is I want you to be aware of how we experience and process pleasant events. Okay, see that there? And it's very simple, but usually when pleasant things happen to us, we become aware of it and it's kind of nice. It maybe gives us a little bit of a smile. What I'd like you to do is try to just be more aware of this. Notice how you react to it. Notice, do you feel maybe something in the body? It's a great way to tie it into the lesson today. Do you feel something in your thoughts, in your feelings, when something pleasant happens? See if you can notice them on a daily basis, even to the point where you're really looking for pleasant events to happen. And as we did last week, allow a few minutes to put that on the log sheet and share that with your buddy. All right, so we've got a couple more comments here. Someone looking for a buddy. So let me know. There may be some people I can pair up. He says looking for someone. Yeah, this is a great comment. Many traditions of mindfulness and yoga around the world where they really originate to learn from and honor. It's easy to look to only Western culture teachers like Jon Kabat-Zinn and Tara Brach, but really so many cultures that predate these figures. Absolutely, yeah. And I don't really have time, unfortunately, to go into a lot of the origins, but such a great point that this is not a recent phenomenon. These are really practices that have been done over many centuries, actually, of history. So, and only recently really been explored in research. So missed one, is there a log sheet to complete or just keep? So we do have a log sheet. Last week I sent you, and you should have gotten last week the slides and the log sheet and a link to the recording. I'll do the same thing this afternoon. I'll send you these slides. They'll come in PDF so that all these links, and you'll see the links, that's the next one. And they'll also give you the log sheet for this week. And if you need the second one, for the first week, I can send you that. But here are the daily practices. So you've got, these are all active links, okay? So when you get here, you can link right into them. They'll be on the slides when I send them out. So there's the body scan, there's the walking meditation. So if you want to listen to that, you don't really have to. It's pretty self-explanatory, as I mentioned, but if you want to listen to it in detail, there's a link there. And then there's a couple of mindful eating links. And I haven't talked too much about this, but there's a lot of great stuff out there on mindfully eating. As I mentioned, there's an exercise of mindful eating a raisin. This first link here, mindful eating with dried fruit or nuts. So you could choose raisins or nuts or some other piece of fruit, whatever you like. And it's about a 5-minute exercise. Try that. It's really an interesting exercise. And then you might want to try bringing that mindful eating approach to eating one of your meals mindfully, taking part of it and just really slowing down and paying attention to all the sensations and really kind of, I think of it as, savoring what we're eating, taking time and appreciating each bite and appreciating the sensations of it, the fragrance and the smells, the tastes, of course, what it looks like, how you feel as you begin to eat, as you go through the meal. So those are all part of it. Then, of course, if you want to do something with chocolate. The second one is with a piece of chocolate. Here are the links for the Nourishing the Spine. So you'll get that there. And there's the 10 mindful movements with Thich Nhat Hanh and the mindful yoga ones. There are some additional homework if you have time and you want to read a little bit more. There's a handout that I'll attach as well on the body scan meditation if you want to read up on it. There's a great article here. This is an active link on how meditation affects the gray matter of the brain. And then here's the one for the 9 attitudes. I highly recommend watching some or all of this. This is really a classic. And then optional, how the brain rewires itself, this whole idea of neuroplasticity. And then there's also a nice video by Jon Kabat-Zinn on coming to our senses.
Which one did you say was a classic?
The 9 Attitudes of Mindfulness.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me stop here. Any questions? So and a couple of why did mindful eating exercises start with dried fruit or nuts versus other foods? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I think it's been part of the mindfulness-based stress reduction class, and I think they used a raisin. If you think about it, probably a raisin is something that's just a little bit unique. It's not. It's something that everybody can eat, probably. Not everybody can have candy, for example, so you may not want to do that. But I just think it's something that's relatively neutral, but at the same time, you know, it's such a, you know, unassuming little piece of fruit. And yet, when you go through the exercise, it really becomes quite an experience when you finally bite into it and experience the raisin, you know, the essence of the raisin, so to speak. All right, so let's see. Any other questions? Got a lot of thank yous. Thank you very much. If there's any, yep, the raisin nut exercise is fun, and you can actually see the raisin exercise. You can search it out on YouTube if you want to do that. But this other link will be very similar to that. All right, great. Namaste to you as well. To everybody, thank you so much. All, if you have any questions as we go through this, I am going to, as I mentioned before, take the attendance. So if you didn't put that in there, I see somebody just said, add me to the attendance. Very good. I will do that. If anybody else needs that, I'll be on for a few minutes doing that. So as I close this out, I'm going to stop the share. Actually, if anybody has any questions, I'll be on the Zoom for a few more minutes if you want to talk after the class. But at this point, I'll formally end the class and say thank you all. Appreciate all those thanks that are coming in. I'll stop the recording and hope you have a good week with body scan and mindful movement. Enjoy it. Bye-bye, everybody.